about your business. Jokers will be gone soon. Now, why y'all want to come into my town and start trouble? And to come into Bill Sharp's town and show your ass?
Freeze. I've been living in hell, boy, nothing is new to me. Fat boy ready to feast. Set the table, grab my plate. Hey, you, cook up these beats. I'm ready to flood these streets. I ain't make it to heaven. Couldn't learn my lesson, now I'm cooling the hell. Middle fingers to the reverend. I've been down on my ass. Boy, listen to them lectures. Now I'm sitting in hell, sipping Henny with the devil shit. Don't need the ice shit, it's already cold. I'm kicking game with the pimps, devising plans, getting top from a hoe. You know the game and how this shit go. You better know Gotti is king or fuck around, get a knife to your throat. I'm on your TV, nigga, all channels. Got the game by the ankle, my new name should be Kurt Angle. Problems, you don't want them. Trust me, I'll burn them. My dog pop out the cut and he a stone cold sternum. Steady chillin' with Crow. He a cold motherfucker. Gotti, he been a problem, thought I told motherfuckers, let's go. I pop a top that might pop on your chick. You say my name like Candyman, then I pop on your strip. You know my dogs be the illest, they not even sick. And catch you while you think it's sweet while I'm taking the trip, it's cold murder. And any nigga back to differ, we for sure learn him. Hollow tips and them extensions, he for sure earnest. Well, gotta have.
Check, Mike, check. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I know y'all in here trying to figure out why I'm starting so late. Well, I just had a like you could call it like a catastrophic event. Uh, and I ain't gonna tell y'all what happened, but I'll tell y'all at the end of the show. So, well, at the end of the day, it's Mr. Pringles the Barber, aka Always Cutting Head Honcho. I am him, not them. I am him, not them. And tonight we're gonna be talking about transparency and walking in your truth. You know, I got a special guest. And hold up. Before I even get to my special guest, since we are talking about transparency, it's only right that I be transparent and let y'all know that I just spilled liquor into my keyboard. See how transparent I am? See that? That right there? That's a gift. It's a gift to be transparent. And this is the second time this shit didn't happen too. But yeah, we good though. I saved it. I saved the day. So to keep going, we are talking about transparency and walking in your truth. And tonight we have the founder of Seeds for Purpose. And she is the adult division director and mothers of murdered Columbus children. And she family, good family. And I've known her forever, man. This like blood. We both in transition and changed. It's amazing to see her blossom and change into who she's changed into and who she's blossomed into. Like, it's gonna be a good night. I just leave it at that. So, as I'm still trying to get this scent of this Maker's Mark off of me, man, this shit crazy. But yeah, man, we about to get Janae Patrick in the building. Go ahead, let her in, y'all. There she go. Look at her. Still beautiful as she was when she was 13, man. We winning, man. We don't even age around these parts. Yeah, right.
That's highly favored.
Highly favored, right?
That's right.
So,
ain't fair.
Right. So
Favor ain't fair.
So Seeds for Purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first thing that comes to your head when you think of that?
Planting seeds in people.
That's a good way to look at it. And I never looked at it that way.
That's exactly what it is.
And that's what we go through our whole life doing.
That's what they do to us.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you know that just speaking of that, I was telling somebody that, you know, somebody might not want to hear what you got to say. Say it anyway, and you just plant that seed and walk away.
Exactly. Think of how many times seeds was planted in us. We ain't listened to it at the time, but it's some years down the line that we heard what they said.
Them shits was big ass trees now.
Listen, that you ran into.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's real.
You're right. It's definitely real. So how long has Seeds of Purpose been established?
I started back in June, but it was just really getting the legal stuff together. It's a 501c3 company, so it's tax exempt, nonprofit. So it's a lot of paperwork and stuff to go behind it. So June, I started paying lawyers to get my affairs in order. So it's just now about to step out on the scene a little bit more.
Well,
yeah.
So nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. It's more paperwork with nonprofit than it is like an LLC and all that.
Yeah, because getting tax exempt status is a whole nother ball game. Doing the paperwork for that. I mean, it ain't that bad, but it's a lot more extensive than just going downtown and getting a EIN and all that stuff.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's way more in depth.
I had this girl I know told me about doing that with the podcast. So I've been trying to figure out how we'll talk about that, because I know you have to have, when you're doing a LLC, a nonprofit, it definitely has to have a purpose.
Right.
And it has to be somewhere where it's helping humanity some type of way. A good cause.
Yeah, it's got to be for the greater good. Mm-hmm. You look at Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, those are nonprofits, but people just don't look at them like that.
They make a lot of money.
Exactly. So people's thought process is, okay, when you say
nonprofit,
exactly,
that's you not nonprofit.
Exactly, and that's not the reality.
I remember my girl, she had the back to school nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she had one of those. That's a good look. So with Seeds for Purpose, so you saying it's just now getting out there for real?
Yeah, I'm just now about to start putting it out there. My website is getting finished right now.
Okay.
So that should be ready in a couple weeks. Got a book coming here soon.
You got a book.
Yeah.
That's challenging.
It's not I didn't write the whole book.
Okay.
But I did a chapter in a book with like 20 other authors, and it's on the power of mental wealth.
Okay, so what would be, who is the highlighted person that's in the book? Like
Les Brown is one of them.
Okay, he cold.
Yeah.
He's from here too, ain't he?
Exactly. Well, he lived here. I don't know if he was born here, but
I think from like Cleveland or Columbus.
Yeah, he was in He was in Columbus at one point in time, politics and everything.
Yeah, he got a lot of kids.
Yeah,
he do. I'm gonna tell you why, because when I heard him,
because that's the first thing that came to mind.
That's the first thing that came to mind for me, because I got a lot of kids.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at people, especially successful people, you know, people, people try to find all excuses of why they can't be successful or why they can't do things.
And it ain't because of the kids.
It ain't because of no kids.
No, it ain't.
It ain't because of none of that. You get out of life what you want out of life.
Exactly, and what you put in it.
And what you put in it, exactly. So when I seen him and I heard him speaking, I started doing research on him, like, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, I would listen to him and Dr. Miles Monroe.
Okay, I heard of him. I haven't did any research on him.
Look on YouTube. Just listen to a couple things. Yeah,
those is powerful people. Those are the people that you wake up in the morning, you want to hear as soon as you wake up.
Yeah, that's that power move in the morning.
Yeah, definite. Because right now in the world, you can get discouraged and lose motivation because of the facade that you see when you're scrolling on social media and all those places.
And even everything you're listening to and taking it in.
Yeah.
You know, it'll get you down real quick.
Right.
Yeah, you find yourself struggling and wonder why. And most people don't get it.
Most people don't get it.
Yeah.
So it goes back to what we was talking about as far as environment. So
it's a serious topic.
Yeah, environment. And y'all, we stepping into the transparent world. We're gonna tap into that in just a second. But when it comes to like Seeds for Purpose, we're gonna stay on there. What is your ultimate goal?
With Seeds for Purpose, the goal of Seeds for Purpose is to help reduce the recidivism rate.
Okay.
And to reduce the crime rate here locally to start with in Columbus, right? The bigger goal is to help individuals change their mindset to realize that they don't have to be where they came from, that you can move past that. It's a lot of generational trauma. So it's all pretty much trauma-based. So it's almost going back to that original wound, right? We got a lot of grown people walking around that's wounded from their mamas and their daddies. And these is grown people. You out here torturing women because your mama wasn't crap. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa, right? It goes both ways. I went and spoke at Lebanon prison, right?
Lebanon is off the chain.
So look, I went and spoke there. Probably about 3 months, maybe more than that. It was the summer. And we had them do surveys. And in those surveys, most of the traumas of these men in between the ages of 18 and 80 was under 10. And we're not talking about little traumas. We're talking about major, life-changing, worldview building traumas. So when you look at these men behind bars, you know, to other people, it's like, oh, they committed a crime, they need to be there, right? But there's still a child inside of them that was never healed, and their worldview and how they looked at the world, how they even treated the world stemmed from that trauma. They became alcoholics, drug addicts, all these different things, abusers, molesters, all these crimes. But nobody ever healed that child. It was never talked about, no counseling. They probably lived in those environments. So I realized that the trauma in our community was the driving force in a lot of the things that was happening.
So, man, that's crazy you say that because that age is where it's like the soil. That's the
Exactly.
soil.
Exactly. That's where you nurtured.
Yeah, the
Every single
roots.
thing that's going on around you, you looking at, you learning, you moving. That's your life. So everything you taking that in as a child. Your environment is toxic. 9 times out of 10, that child is going to grow up to be toxic.
I was just explaining that to somebody that, when you look at a kid, then you're looking at an adult, most adults' insecurities come from
Childhood. Yeah.
I was talking to my girl about it, and I was telling her, I said, you might say, she was like, well, you confident. You just overly confident. You got light-skinned dude confidence. So
Not light-skinned
yeah,
dude.
light-skinned dude confidence. Now, I was telling her, I said, when you think about it, I had to really think about it myself. Like, where did you get this confidence from? I said, my mom still compliments her sons to this day. Like, as we could be, don't make no difference how old we are. To her, we're still her babies. She still compliment us all the way, all the way. All right. So when I'm thinking about it, I said, I feel like people that's insecure, they didn't get compliments and stuff like that. They got broken as kids.
Exactly.
So you grow with those insecurities. So like you got it right. Childhood is very important, and a lot of the times, even some people know that childhood is important, and they still go about it the wrong way.
The wrong way, yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to even think as a parent. We know because most of us have been through our own traumas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to be a better parent, but so many are not.
You're right.
So many are not. They choose to still do the exact same thing or even worse because now they done picked up their own bad habits on top of the habits that their parent or that environment gave them. So then you pouring all of that into your child. I had to check myself. We being transparent. I'm looking at myself and I thought about my own childhood and I realized I was sending my kids out the house in the morning, but I'm yelling all day. I'm yelling in the morning. But I grew up in a house where that's what my mom did.
Exactly.
You know that.
Yeah.
We wake up together.
And it became to the point where you could operate in chaos.
All the time. It was normal.
It was normal.
It became normal. So one day it just clicked and I realized I was yelling at my kids in the morning, but then I'm kissing them, telling them to have a good day. And my baby got tears in her eyes because I'm yelling and I done hurt her feelings. But I'm sending her out to the world saying, have a good day. And I had to sit back and think about that.
How would she have a good day if you already started her day off?
Exactly. In chaos. But because that's the chaos I grew up in, and that's the chaos that I knew, here I am pouring it into my seed.
Seeds for purpose.
Come on. And I'm sending my baby out here to the world, expecting her to have a great day with tears in her eyes because I done hurt her feelings.
I hope y'all taking notes because that it's like we get caught in autopilot.
Yeah, we do. We have to check ourselves first. That's the first thing. We be so busy judging other people, but you really got to take a deep look at yourself and say, okay, I got some issues.
Yeah.
Get a therapist. Ain't nothing wrong with getting a therapist. We've been taught that in our community. Oh, we crazy. You crazy. I ain't crazy. It ain't about being crazy. Sometimes you need to talk to somebody about them issues because everything around you taught you what you knew. You need an outside voice to say, nah, that ain't it.
Right.
But I had to do that for myself. And I had to apologize to my kids. It's a lot of parents that owe their kids apologies.
It's a lot of parents that owe their kids apologies.
It's a real thing.
That's deep.
You know how many kids is out here committing crimes and doing the things that they do right now because they angry at their parent? Because they didn't feel like they got what they needed. And the parents is now asking for help because the child is out of control, but the parent ain't never looked at themselves to say, maybe I did something wrong here.
Just to think of that, just to say that, if you a man, you have a son. We're gonna do the man first. If you have a man, you got a son. If you bring a bunch of gangbangers in your house, if you're gang affiliated, and your son see all your friends are gang affiliated, eventually he sees that as something normal and okay. So he will eventually be a gang affiliated. If you take a little girl and you keep bringing men in and out of the house over and over and over and over and over and over, if she starts
Acting promiscuous.
who is to blame in that situation?
That's my thing. Like as parents, we got to realize that every single thing that we do, our children mimic.
Yeah, they watching.
They mimic. Like we are the example.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like exposing them to all of these things, adult things at that.
Mhm.
You know, I can remember being in adult conversations and being told to go in another room. That ain't happening no more.
Mhm.
Kids are sitting right there entertaining and soaking in all that conversation that they ain't supposed to be hearing. We heard things we wasn't supposed to hear.
They're curious.
Yeah. They want to know.
They want to know.
They want to know. And it's like you can't do it.
It's and you know, I was telling somebody this too, like, you know, boys get their identity from their fathers and daughters get their identity from their moms. Even though you need both parents, naturally that boy is going to find he's looking for his, like, okay, what does my dad do?
Exactly.
It's only so much time that the mom is, oh, she's gonna nurture, she's gonna feed. But once that boy starts getting older, he's gonna be finding out, he want to know what his dad was doing.
It's gonna be things that he wants to know as a man.
That's
that
how
his
he
mother
finds who
can't
he
teach
is.
him.
Exactly. That's how he finds out who he, you know what I mean, who he is. Just like the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got custody of my daughter and I could teach her so much. It just gets to the point where, you know, sometimes I might have to check myself because might be being too hard.
Harsh.
Yeah. However, she's still gonna be looking for woman figure.
Exactly. You got to think anytime you are missing another parent, that relationship, there's something there that you're missing inside because you're
Mhm.
searching for that in your father if you ain't got your mother, and in your mother when you ain't got your father, and it's not something that each other can give.
Right.
You still are missing that. You know what I'm saying? So
piece.
you grow up
Mhm.
and you realize that you're missing these things.
Mhm.
My father was in and out of prison.
Mhm.
When my dad was home, we had a relationship. When he was gone, we had a phone relationship and a visiting room relationship, but it still didn't give me what I needed as a daughter. And no
Mhm.
matter who my stepfather was or anybody else, I couldn't get what I needed.
No.
You know, so I had to figure that out and deal with the daddy issues because you get issues from it.
Yeah. And as a kid, you don't speak out.
No, you don't even know what you're speaking about.
No.
You don't know what the issue
you
is.
don't know what it is.
You
But
don't
it's
know what the
happening
issue
to you.
is. That's why the adults got to be adulting.
That's
The
why
adults should know what the issue is.
But some adults, you know, like I said, autopilot.
That's what I'm saying.
It takes time for you to sit down, like that whole thing about meditation and shit like that
It's real.
is real.
Mhm.
Meditation, praying, all those both two things are in the same field to me.
Yeah.
Like that gives you time to get, you know, to really like look back on what's going on. Like,
And clear your own thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah. And to recenter yourself. You gotta think sometimes life is so busy. We just
That
keep
closer.
going and going and going.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Then you look up and all these things that happen and you ain't processed nothing that happened. Cause you just been moving.
Mhm.
You know, you got kids, you got to feed them, you gotta go to school, you gotta go to work, you gotta pay the bills. Life is happening so fast. Sometimes we don't sit back and process what just happened. You look up, years done passed by, and you just been running.
You've been running and you've been tearing everything down around
Man,
you.
listen, and tearing yourself down.
Yeah.
Burning yourself out. About to hit a wall. I did it for years.
Mhm.
I did it for years.
And I feel like everybody had, I don't know, everybody believe in who they believe in, but you got to have some type of deity that to keep your focus.
Mhm.
Because if you don't, I don't see how people move in the world without it. Like
Man, listen,
if you don't have like
me and my friend was just talking about that. I
no.
was just saying, like, I don't I wasn't raised in the church, right?
Mhm.
So the relationship that I have was a relationship that I was just blessed to have. I kind of seek that relationship. Even my level of faith, right? It's kind of extreme, radical even to some.
That's good though.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, I probably be getting looked at crazy half the time. I could care less. But I can't imagine not having that at this point. Because there's days still where I'm ready to hit a wall.
You're right.
But I know where to turn to.
Yeah.
I know how to get back. And I can't imagine going through life and not knowing how to get back. So you just going and going and going and going and going. So what?
If you don't have a destination,
Exactly.
you don't have a destination.
The marathon, literally.
Yeah, the marathon.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
And I understand that completely because when I was locked up and I did that 5 years, getting there was like, okay, I'm here now. Hold up. Before I even get there, we got a funny moment, man. This is a funny moment,
I'm
man.
scared.
This shit about to be funny as fuck, right? So, because we in transparency, right? Transparency is the key to you unveiling your gifts, your purpose in life, and everything. You will never reach your full potential until you can become transparent and be comfortable with who you are.
Exactly.
So, you remember when I was in the county, right? On my way, I was fighting my case, and you came to visit me,
Mm-hmm.
and you asked me what happened to my hair.
I don't remember.
I'm about to tell you. Help you remember. I had magic shaved all my hair off, and I was walking because when you came, you could see me walking down the hallway coming up to the booth, and I didn't have no hair, right? As soon as I got to the booth, you was looking at me and you was like, what happened to your
Shut up.
Oh man, listen, man, that was the funniest shit for me after the fact and everything.
Right.
Because I was really going through it. I was in there like thinking that I'm like, okay, now I'm Tupac. Because
I am weak.
Listen,
you felt like you had to shave your hair,
man. I was in there like, hold up.
No,
y'all ain't letting me out. That shit was really like, okay, so you telling me I'm about to go to prison for some shit that now hold up, it wasn't registering.
wow.
It got to the point where I was writing the judge. I need to get home to get to my daughter and take her trick or treating. It's about to be Halloween. Thanksgiving came.
It ain't even
Christmas
hit.
ain't nothing. It wasn't registering yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, I said, damn, I ain't got shit to do in here. I'm reading this. I need to just let me see that magic shade. Let me throw that on, man. When I came to that business, once you said that, you asked me what happened to my hair. I never did it again. I was like, oh yeah, I got to be looking crazy, man. I ain't got no hair on my head. I've been known to have hair my whole life.
Whole life. Not only that, a good ass grade of hair. Let's
start there. Yeah, man. So that was just a piece of that. But yeah, man, during that time though, God is the only reason that I made it through all that.
I was so proud of you when you came home.
Yeah.
I was so proud of you when you came home.
I was a whole different person. That shit is crazy. So people ask about that and be like, would you ever take it back? And I say, no.
Because it did something to you.
Yeah.
And it changed you for the better.
Yep. And it's sad because I tell my brothers, I say, in life, you could be trying to get yourself back on the right track and do the right things. I said, but it's crazy to take a white man to sit you down and tell you what to do for you to become a better person.
Right. And it happens.
And then, yeah, and it happens. And then it's people that come home and they still they fall off and they can't get themselves back. So then you got to ask yourself, do you need an overseer?
Right. Right. To keep you in line.
And if somebody, they'll tell you like, nah, I got this. Well, obviously you don't got it because you went to jail and you came home better.
Right.
But once you got back into the flow of things, it's hard for you to get back on track. So it's obviously you need an overseer.
And it's a cycle.
Yep.
It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
My dad has been in and out of jail since 84. Literally 5 years, 4 years, 3 years.
I can't see it, man. That shit is like,
I know this will be his last time in there. He comes home in October, but he done lost so many years in there, so many years. And what I realized too is so many come home and try to make up for them years. You can't make up for that time.
you can't.
You just got to keep going forward. I mean,
Mhm.
I understand the thought process of it, right? But me being a daughter that my father was trying to make it up to, now I know he could have never made up that time. It was just us moving forward from here, and I'm just glad I was even always open to that relationship with my dad.
Yeah. See, I don't understand. I mean, I can't say I don't understand. I do understand how they go in and go back and forth because it gets to the point where after you in there so long,
it's normal.
It's normal. Now this feels like home, and you being outside feels like.
Then it's a couple other layers to it. I mean, it's underlying issues too that lead them right back in there. I mean, for my dad, it was addiction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you committing crimes to feed a habit. It ain't got nothing to do with the jail, but it got everything to do with getting high while you out here. And if you ain't got the means to get high, you gonna find the means to get high.
Yeah.
And those means send you to jail.
And then you get in jail and become a better person. Like you become who you supposed to be.
Man, listen, the last time my dad came home was the first time in all those years that he ever was in a drug treatment program in jail. Let's start there. So while he was getting rehabilitated for the crime he committed, he wasn't getting rehabilitated in the root of the problem to begin with, which was drugs. How do you never be in a drug treatment program when drugs was always the issue? It was never an offer. This last time around, he went through a drug treatment program. Came home a whole different man. So busy trying to make up for that lost time, got caught up in that lifestyle still. Because that's still the only lifestyle he knows. But for the first time in his life, he wasn't getting high. But that money was coming. And it was just this, another evil, basically. That's sitting right back there. But he ain't touched no drugs for the first time in his life.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Speaking of that, since we on that, how tap back into that Lebanon? Now, I don't know. Was that your first time ever actually going into a prison, right?
That wasn't my first time going in.
That way.
Yeah, I was about to say that way.
Okay, now I'm going in on this because me being in there and knowing that these women are coming in here.
So let me tell you.
Go ahead. Tell me how.
First off, let's just talk about the walking in, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I know what it's like to go in there to go visit somebody. We know the hassle you go through and all that stuff. It's a little bit different when you go and doing something, right? We meeting the social worker and the pastor. So it's not a big deal. We go through security still like normal, but I'm literally walking, the library, the chow hall. Everybody's walking around me, and it's just me, the pastor, and the other two ladies. We in general population.
They got y'all out there like that?
Oh, yeah, you out there like that. So mind you, I never done it before. So first I'm like, damn, this how we do it?
Yeah, see, I didn't know. I thought they had...
No, we're just walking through the jail. Literally, they in there eating. I'm walking by. I'm like, oh my God.
Is this wintertime?
This was just a few months ago.
So it was still cold, so you had a jacket on.
This had to be right after the summer. Oh yeah, I was dressed.
First
off, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Okay, that's all. I'm just making sure because
come on.
Man, that's like cutting yourself, throwing yourself in jumping in the ocean.
First off, so even getting in there, right?
Yeah.
Our founder introduced us, and who we were.
Okay.
The organization, and one of our moms spoke. So she went ahead of me, and then I was second, and then Melissa, which is our founder, would finish us off. So while Miss Brenda's going, I'm kind of surveying the crowd. And it's kind of intimidating because literally they have a real church in there. The church looks like a big full-size church.
Altar.
Every pew is full. So it's got to be at least 80 people in here. And we talk about men, 18 to 80, then did God knows what. So I'm looking at these faces, not trying to look too long.
And they looking long.
Listen, okay.
Everybody got eye contact.
So I'm bouncing around. So instantly I'm filling them out though. I'm out of that zone. I'm in my own zone. I want to fill them out. And then I start going into prayer about God giving me the words to know what they needed.
Okay.
To empty myself of me and fill me with you, Lord, so I can give them what they need. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in that place. So I'm stuck there after I done processed everybody in there. I done already figured out who's in there for all the wrong reasons. They in there just because they know these women is coming in here. They in there because they're getting out of whatever task that they got to do. So I done already picked out who my problem children are. So I pray for them. That, they came for the wrong reasons, Lord, but you got something for them.
Oh, so when you was praying out loud to them?
No.
Oh, this
I'm
is what
sitting
you're praying
in my
yourself.
seat while Miss Brenda's telling her story.
Okay.
Surveying the crowd, because literally it's like 3 chairs right here, and all of them are facing me. Miss Brenda and Melissa sitting up here. So we are like targets.
Yeah.
So while I survey the crowd, then I put my head down in my seat and I start praying. And that's what I'm praying, because I literally done looked and I know who there for the wrong reasons.
Good move.
But I know that I could say something still that get through there, right? So get up there, the longest talk I ever had. Let's just start there. I've never talked for that long straight in any of my talks.
Were you comfortable immediately, or were you nervous at first?
I was nervous at first until after I prayed. Once I prayed, and once I get on the mic, it's just a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So once I got up there, I started with talking about my father. I could even go verbatim with what I talked about, because I'm telling you, whole spirit moment. It wasn't, it was beyond me, right?
Yeah.
Long story short, notes being taken, questions being asked for like 15 minutes afterwards, to where I had to get one guy together, because he kind of got out of pocket. The pastor on point got him together too.
He got out of pocket as far as what?
He wanted, the one mother, of course, is a mother that lost her child to violence, so she's going through her grandchildren and how the effects of their father's death has had on each individual one of them in different ways, right? So she's going through that and talking about her son and stuff like that. I get up and I go in from my father, and not only that, letting them know they're still needed in their community, and don't think because you're behind here, your purpose ended. Like it's still going on, so I'm kind of motivating them in all kind of different ways, whether they coming home, not coming home.
Okay.
Nothing's changed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm letting them know, as women in the community, we need them. But what we need them to do, and their mindset, how the youth is needing them. Because some of your fathers, how many of y'all are fathers? More than half the audience. One boy got up and said that I called him a boy, I'm sorry. First off, he looked like a child. That's how you know jail preserves our men. You already know that for sure, right?
That's a fact.
To me, when I say he looked like a kid, he looked like a kid. But he was in there for murder, and he was honest about saying he was there for murder, but he had just lost his son to murder. So he got up to tell me that he did not know how to grieve his own child, knowing that he had did this to somebody else. And that he hadn't cried because nobody ever cried for him when he was a child. He didn't even know how to cry for his own son that had just been murdered. And he got up and told me this in this room full of people. So you got a guy that come from the back. Everybody that's murderers in here, stand up.
That's what dude said?
Not the one who stunned it. But the one from the back, which already pinpointed him as a problem child, right?
He was young?
Yeah. This is, I think he probably got sent there because I think he got in trouble somewhere else. And he says that. So I'm like, only stand up if you're comfortable. Because we didn't ask what their crimes was, because it didn't even matter.
Why would that matter? Like,
listen, so he says that. So then he get to talking about all the programming out here that we have, where they got people who done molested children, mentoring kids, and all, he talking outside of his face. I'm done talking, and I done already sat down at this point. So the pastor is telling him basically to go back. I asked the pastor for the mic because I couldn't deal. So I tell him, I said, now, if we would have came in here and we didn't have the right heart posture, or we didn't have their best interests at heart, they would know, right? You know when somebody ain't genuine. We come in here from a pure place talking about kids that really need help and mentorship and all these different things. He talking about us letting him out of jail. We don't let them out of jail to help the youth. Dude, your heart ain't even in the right place. Let's start there. I had to get him all the way together. So comfortable, I got beyond comfortable.
So you got him together and he was shooting back.
No, he went and stood back after I got him all the way together. Yeah, he went back there.
He didn't know who he was dealing with.
No, but just even the way he came up there, it was just like, come on, cut it out. You talking about coming out here helping some youth. Your mind ain't even in a place where you can help yourself yet. And that's obvious.
Right.
So now everybody else clapping. You know, all the guys out there, but it was definitely a eye-opening experience because when I first felt like it was a recidivism rate that I was supposed to be working on, it was like, I never been to jail before. So why is that it? That was the first time we took the surveys too. So we only took 50 surveys. It's probably 80 people in there. I'm thinking maybe 10, 15 to get filled out. You know, it was optional. All 50 surveys got filled out. 7 questions. First question, what age was your first trauma? Everybody under 10. I literally rode home crying from reading through the things that happened to these men under the age of 10. Heartbreaking. And we're talking about life-changing things. So it's like, what if we go back when these people come out of jail and figure out what that initial trauma was? Take that Band-Aid off. Not put it back on, but have social workers, addiction counseling, every wraparound service that they need to actually heal that wound and then come out. What does that look like? And that's what Seeds for Purpose wants to do.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Just because I've been there and I know they got programs and all that. From my point of view of that, getting out, once you get out, you can take those programs. The problem is being able to keep somebody's attention while they're on the street and keep them coming back.
The environment.
Yeah, they're back to the environment.
The biggest thing is the environment, right?
Yeah.
And I even say that with the youth right now, right? We're doing all the stuff that we're doing to help the youth right now. My biggest focus is not necessarily the youth, but the parents. Because we can do everything we can with the youth, taking them into these programs, taking them outside of the home, even exposing them to things outside of their environment, right? Because exposure is important. We can do all of that. But if we dropping them right back off at home in an environment that nurtured them to where they're at anyway, they ain't getting nothing better. They right back. Like we gave them a temporary fix. But if we go into the home and help the parents heal and help them get through their stuff and help their minds get changed, then we putting this child back into a healthy environment where everybody's working.
Right. Now, you saying child though, like you talking about 18-year-old men that's coming home?
No, I'm talking about both. When I'm talking about Seeds for Purpose, I'm talking about grown men.
Okay.
But when I'm talking about Mothers of Murdered Columbus Children, we dealing with the youth. We doing a youth series even right now, right? Where we're doing vision boards with them. We're following them along. Every month we're getting with them, and these are some of our worst kids out here right now. We doing this vision board with them because we want them to see that they have a future.
Okay.
So when they come back next time, we're going to set goals to make that future happen. But then we're going to follow them along again for another month. And we're going to do empathy boards. Help them empathize with other people in situations that's going on around them, right? But we're going to follow them along for a year. Like they're going to be partnered with a mother that lost their child to violence and walk them along that process. You know, to help them change their mind, you know, because we're really talking about some kids that's really getting in some trouble right now that they could be dead next year. You know, so really getting them to a point to change their mindset. But when I'm talking about them, their home life may not be that great. And I'm not saying every child who is out here acting out comes from a bad home, because that would be a lie, right? but a lot of them,
The masses.
the masses. And if not, they're missing something at home, right? But if we don't fix the home life, it doesn't matter how much work we do. We got kids out here 15 and 16 years old killing each other.
Do you think, so we're talking about men right now at this point. Do you think as a boy growing up that it's a necessity to have a father?
I think it's vital. I think it's very important. I don't it's a necessity. It is a necessity.
Because when you really think about it, okay, so when you think most men that's raised by their mom, a lot of the men that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure
raised in single family
homes.
Or they were raised in households where their father abused their mother.
One of the two. So you get in the bad end. You're not getting what a father is supposed to be. You're not getting a good role model at that time.
Yeah. But this is what I can even say about that, right? Because there's some damn good men that come from single mother homes, right? But
it's still a piece missing.
It's still going to be something missing, right? But an advantage that some of them have is that the mother is mothering. She's at her highest potential. You understand what I'm saying?
Because she's playing both parts.
Yeah, she stepped up to the plate to where she's not exposing this child to things they don't have to be exposed to. You know what I'm saying? She's really put herself to the side to raise this man. And she's had to sacrifice, but she's also present. There's a lot of mothers right now raising sons that just isn't present anyway. You know, they're in the home, but whether they're attending to these children is a whole nother story.
See, my question now is like, is that based on years ago before we had this whole social media thing and YouTube and all those things? Or is that based on today? Because today, I think it would be more of a challenging task to be able to reach people due to the fact that the influence of social media is a strong pull.
It is. It definitely is.
It's a brainwash.
It is. But you got to think all things almost are, right? The music. Now, first
off. But we only had the music, though. Think about it. When we was growing up, we only had the music and the environment outside.
Yeah.
The kids now have the
reality
music,
TV,
social media, the environment. Like, all of those are still environment. However, like, I just feel like it's more challenging now. Like, I
believe it is. Oh, God, it definitely is. The environment is not what we grew up in. We thought we were bad.
Oh yeah, we thought we was bad.
We thought we was bad. This is a whole different ball game, right? That's why I talk about the generational cycle too of it. Like, social media is big, right? But when you add that on top of all the rest of the trauma, like, it's an animal.
That's the candle on the cake.
Yes, it's like gas to the fire.
Yeah.
Like, it's making it 10 times worse, right?
Yeah.
It's making it 10 times worse. I didn't even let my kids get social media for a long time. Like, it took a lot for me to even allow it. And I honestly wish now I would have waited till later.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that you can wait. You can't stop it.
It's hard to control.
Because they still got to go to school and their friends.
Exactly.
They still got.
Even with the phones. I waited late for the phones. Everybody had phones for my kids. But I didn't want them to have that access because I knew, them kids, they sit around their faces in their phones all day long.
Right.
You almost can't even control what your child is getting a hold of anymore because of those phones.
Right.
But then here we go again, right? With the responsible parenting. We can say that all day long, but then there's apps, there's all this stuff you can put on that child's phone to prohibit them from doing certain things. It's a lot of work.
I'm gonna say that.
But some of it's doable.
It's a lot of work. However, I feel like this is where I feel like if you can get your kids, it's all psychology to me. So if you can get your kids to find interest in the good shit, instead of, they got to be able to recognize what's good and what's bad. They done flip the whole thing to where the kids looking at things that's not good as good.
That's when we go back into that moral compass, though.
Yeah.
That whole value system, right? that we was talking about earlier. Like
Yep, you're right.
our kids have their own value system, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are the first people who give them that moral value system. If we're not giving it to them, they're going to get it from somewhere else.
You're right. That's their foundation.
We have to give them that foundation, right? So if I'm having these conversations with my daughter and I'm honest with them, my kids haven't been exposed to half the stuff I have, but there's conversations constantly. Everything I do in the community, my girls go with me, unless it's something that children are not privy to, right? But they there, so they see and they hear these stories constantly. I need them to see and hear these stories constantly, because when it comes time for them to make a decision, they're going to know the right decision to make, not only because of the environment that I placed them in with me out here doing community service and doing the work that I do, but from those conversations that we've had time and time again about all these different things. It comes with planting them seeds again, right? I'm making sure that even if they go astray, right? Because that's the thing. You can do all things right and your kids can still go left. It's no different than me being God's child. I done made choices that done took me off God's path time and time again.
But you always
He
always
does what
bring
he
you-
does to get me right back on track,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
After I done made them few mistakes and I done bumped my head a few times and I'm suffering some way, somehow, I get back on track eventually. Our kids are no different, but we have to give them to foundation to go back to. If we not giving them that foundation, they all over the place.
Right. And they need to be able to see you in action.
Exactly. Constantly.
That's their hands-on.
And even everything that I've done over the last 5 years, I set my kids down before I do it, because everything that I do affects my children. I'm buying a house. So this year, y'all gonna have to sacrifice my time. My kids watch me bust my ass at work for that year. The end of the year, I bought a house. They watched me do that, but they also seen the sacrifices I had to make. I was tired. The daycare lady was doing my kids' hair for them to go to school because I was working so much, because I was a single mom trying to do those things. But I was making sure they was in good hands, but I still had to sacrifice something. Then I sold the house. Mommy want to be able to invest in what's coming next, because this is what God is saying and this is what we're going to do. So they didn't see me do that. We move into a smaller house. I invest in the business. I do everything I say I'm going to do. November, mommy's going to quit her job. We ain't got no steady income coming in here, but mommy going to make sure we good for 6 months. If I got to go back to work, fine. But I'm believing what God told me a couple years ago, and now it's time.
The only way you're gonna find out if you take the step.
Man, listen, to coffee turning into, oh, I want you to meet my team, to meeting a team turned into, oh, we think you'll fit any position we got. Do you want to come in as Seeds for Purpose? You want to come in as Janae under a contract? And I just quit. November 4th was my last day at work.
You had like 60
So my
days.
kids is seeing the manifestation and just the hard work. Like, I make sure it's a conversation every single time I make a move, because I need them to see the struggles in between those times, but also see God's promise fulfilled. If I'm telling you this is what God said we're going to have, there's some times I'm going to have to walk by faith. And this is what it looks like.
And I need you to see what faith does.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 That manifestation. Like, come on, it's real. We have to start leading our kids in that way. And if I'm expecting my kids to step up to the plate to be better, I have to be better, and I have to be modeling that I'm being better. We got too many parents that need to apologize and need to step up to the plate. Period.
Listen, that Always Come Barber Talk is this thing where, this is the only place you can come to where being clumsy is beneficial, because we just drop jewels all over the place. Yeah.
Go pick them up.
Yeah, that was definitely a jewel. It's like your kids need to be able to see and be a part of hands-on, because we was kept in the dark where they thought we was kept in the dark. However, we was always listening.
Okay, always
Listening. And somewhere as parents, we forget that the kids are always listening.
Always.
Man, Seeds for Purpose. See, it's great that now I get to understand what it's all about, because I was
Exactly.
seeing it and I was trying to break it down and define it myself, and I was watching you transition. Like, okay,
We watched each other.
you're right, we did. 'Cause
First off, just the conversations at the kitchen table in our 30s.
yeah,
We could start there.
go ahead, give it to him. Go ahead. That's what I brought you here for.
Listen,
Go ahead.
listen. So we
Uh,
both in our early 30s and we kind of going through a thing.
mhm.
It's my brother.
Yeah.
So I'm going through some things and I'm like, I feel like I'm crazy. Like the thought processes, am I tripping? I'm calling, hey, I'm going through X, Y, and Z. You like, bruh, I'm about to come over. To coming over is us sitting at the island having drinks, talking about how wild our thought process is and how it's going towards legacy and all these things that we never thought about.
You
But-
start thinking you going crazy. Like, if I'm only one tripping, or it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Just the 30s did something to us, right? So to even go back to those conversations, to come up to where we're at right now, it's back into that manifestation again, right? Because we knew then that it was greater for both of us. And I ain't even scratched the surface.
me either.
I ain't even scratched the surface.
Me either. It be these conversations right here that's needed, because somebody asked me yesterday, a couple of days ago, they was like, bro, when you get caught in a rut, what do you do? Like, you work so hard to get where you at. Now you just feel like, okay, what's next? I don't know. I'm just here. I said, sometimes you got to go down your own timeline and go back
Yep.
to who you were before to see how you became who you are.
That's that journaling.
That's the journaling. Yeah, exactly.
Listen, I swear by it.
Yeah.
I literally tell people all the time, journal, because what happens is you go through these dark times, you go through the highs and the lows, you forget.
You forget. That's the trick right there.
Even when you're
forget.
grateful, you forget.
You
You
forget.
forget. Just and this is a prime example, right? Every time we go through something, you look to God like it's the first time. Oh, yeah, like He ain't gonna come through. But every single time in your life, every single time in your life, like, bruh, He always came through.
He always showed up.
What are you worried for?
Man, I just told somebody that too.
What are you worried for?
Why are you worried if you already got through?
But you read that journal and you'll reality check yourself. And not only that, you'll see where He came at. You'll see how your words change from that sorrow to being blessed and prospering and all these things. You'll actually see yourself come out of it. And that's somebody else's roadmap to come out of something. That's why we got to stop being so quiet with our stories and lying and being transparent about the downfalls and certain things, because we are the blueprint for somebody else.
Walk in your truth.
That's it.
Don't be ashamed of it.
At all. The good, bad, the ugly. Quit worrying about what other people think all the time. I hurt people's feelings all the time. All the time.
It's needed.
It is needed. And it's a place of love. We're doing it.
It's called constructive.
Yeah, it's a
criticism.
place of love. Like, even with my people, I love my people. I want to see my people prosper. So every gift that I got that I could pour out into my people to make them better, empty me.
And it feel good.
It feel damn good.
See, that's that purpose.
Yeah.
When you find your
It's
purpose,
like it's a hunger.
Yeah.
And honestly, the crazy thing is, once you do, everything else around you follows suit. If it doesn't fit in with that purpose, it don't make sense to you. From the stuff I watch, everything I watch, I can correlate purpose to it some way, somehow. My purpose, what I'm designed to do. I can't read a book or listen to music if it doesn't feed my spirit. It's like, no, that's not for me. You can love it all day long, but it's not for me.
So you understand now why they always taught you never to question certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It keeps you in the dark. I was just saying, like, like when you're actually born and you start living life based on somebody else's perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
until you get to a point in life where your life is like 4K and you like, hold up, man.
Right.
This ain't,
Listen.
man, hold up. I have to think for myself on what is supposed to be what.
It's like coming to a point where you have to unlearn everything that you have been taught.
Mm-hmm.
First off, even I always got to go back to the God thing, because at the end of the day, that's what it is for me, right? I was born to be the person I'm becoming right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could have been this person a long time ago, but what happens is life
happens,
and the people around you and your environment and the music and everything else takes away from who you actually are. We get distractions, and we get so comfortable with trying to fit into the world's model that we losing out on ourselves. We too busy trying to be like everybody else and not different.
Man, if you ain't saying the
our
same...
difference is what makes us special. Like, I don't want to be like nobody else. I want to be authentically who God created me to be, and that's only me. But that's what makes me special.
Oh, we dropping jewels,
like,
man.
Come on.
This is so crazy because I was just saying the same thing, and I haven't talked to you.
No, we haven't talked. I just called you, a couple days ago?
Yeah, I haven't talked to you, and everything you saying, I've been saying.
Listen to me, but we have always been kind of like that.
Yeah.
We have always been like that. That's why it was no different than me calling in the 30s and saying, brother, I'm going through some things. Yeah. And you getting there, and it was like, okay, males are going through this too in their 30s. Like, it's a thing. Right now in my 40s,
it's some different shit here.
Yeah.
This right here. This is some different shit right here.
It is.
Because it's like, it's almost like you know that you're closer to leaving than staying. First off.
Listen.
So it's really crunch time.
Yeah.
You don't got no time. It gets to the points when you hit your 40s, it's like, look, I don't have no time for no bullshit. Nope. It's either is or it ain't. It ain't. I don't have no time to waste.
Listen.
I'm trying to get
years, nothing.
No nothing. I need all the knowledge. I need to be successful here. I need to be successful here. I don't have no time.
Like, I don't know this, so I gotta go get it.
Yeah. You talking to people and you check the conversation and you read like, you ain't talking about shit. Let me on to the next. You ain't talking about nothing. I can't even waste my time on that.
I don't have time.
I'm not.
First off, I wasted too much time.
I wasted too much time. It ain't the money. Money gonna come. You learned that money comes.
Listen.
The focus is not the money. The focus is the time.
Listen to me.
Listen.
I just told my friend that the money. Listen, everybody, and everybody worried about me selling my house, quitting my job, and all these different things, right? I'm not worried. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm operating in exactly where I'm supposed to operate, right? And it's not for the money.
It ain't.
It's because this is what I'm supposed to do. It's because I care about my community. It's because of all these things. But because God know I got children and I got a household to take care of, and it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy, the money is going to come.
It's going to come. That's there.
And it is.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
It's just what it is.
Yeah. When you start thinking any other way, that's when you start losing money.
Man, listen.
Yeah, like.
Because then you just throwing money in all these different places where you ain't even got to be throwing money to.
Right.
To be honest with you, he gave you everything you need to make the money.
You already got it.
You already got it.
You just got to tap in.
Man, listen.
Transparency. Tap into who you are.
Exactly. And be okay with it.
Yeah.
Hurt feelings. It's okay. Because everybody ain't supposed to go.
It's going to be some shit that's going to shed along the way.
That's it. And some of it's going to be people.
Man, this is crazy, man.
It's a beautiful thing, though.
It's crazy. Seeds for purpose. Seeds for purpose. It's like I'm at a place where when I'm speaking to people, you want to be comfortable with opening all your doors in your head.
Yeah.
You don't want to get to the point where you got to close doors. When you got to do that,
you ain't my people.
Exactly.
You ain't my people.
That means you it's designed for you to be able to accept me for who I am completely, all the way 100.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
That it is no other way.
Listen. Wholeheartedly.
So y'all see this, right? This is the male mind and the female mind in agreement.
Truth.
Yeah, truth. Man, that is crazy, man. I've been saying everything you've been saying. And
Mhm. And it's
that-
still going. Just think we got so much more.
yeah,
Like I'm hungry for the knowledge now. At one point in time, the struggle was there to not even really want it. And that's what I wish more of our young people would get, for real.
but you know what's crazy that you're saying that? I wish more our young people would get. Do you know that it was somebody saying the same shit to us when we was younger?
Yeah.
And we could not fucking fathom the thought
At all.
process of where
That's
they
them
were.
seeds, though. That's them
Ye-
seeds.
That's them seeds. You're right. So just drop your seeds all over the place.
Listen.
You that's
they
your
don't
job.
Wanna, they
That's
don't want to
it.
hear it. Tell them anyway.
Tell them anyway.
Tell them anyway. It may seem like it's going in one ear and out the other, but just like us, because I'm sure everybody can relate to that, where you look back at something that happened to you not that long ago, but somebody told you about it a long time ago, and that voice clicked in your head when you start doing it, or that reality of what could happen when you do it happened. You thought about that person who told you.
You're right. It do go back.
You do. You go back.
You go back
to that moment, like, damn, my mama told me.
Yep.
Damn, my auntie told me. You hear that.
You hear it.
So tell them anyway. It can be beating them up against the wall. Like, it don't matter. Tell them. Because there's going to be a time where they go back to that voice and they hear it. When I'm dead and gone, I plan on my kids having so many gems, my grandkids having some gems. Like, this is the generational thing I'm creating.
I'll tell you this, man. I told somebody, I said, have you ever sit and watch older people, like old people? Do you notice that old people don't find beauty in what you look like? Old people find beauty in who you are and
all
what you
it is.
your heart.
Yeah.
Now, I was telling somebody, I says that's why when people hit a certain age, they seek so much knowledge.
Yeah.
And they trying to build themselves, because beauty has to fade somewhere. It has to fade. So what are you after that? You just a shell.
Exactly.
I don't want to be a shell.
Exactly.
People go collect seashells at the shore and you just got a shell there. There's nothing in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a shell.
I want to know what your soul looking like.
Exactly. And that's what happens as you get older.
Yeah.
You start paying attention to the soul.
Exactly. All that extra stuff is null and void. I don't care. Listen, I don't care how you come up to me, what you looking like, them clothes, like none of that matters to me. What's your heart looking like?
Yeah. You're right.
It's a whole nother thing. And then what are your aspirations? Like, what's your thought process? Like, I need to know that, especially with where I'm at right now. Like, there's got to be a super alignment right there with the thought process and everything else. And it ain't even a money thing, right?
No.
I ain't even calculating your funds because I know where we going to.
Yeah.
As soon as I know I got that person that's in alignment, and I found him.
Alike.
And I found him, right? So it's like, it's up from here. Because that partnership and that collaboration right there is a whole nother thing.
I was telling them, like, people be so focused on what they can do by themselves.
God didn't create us to be by ourselves.
If that was the case, you would be here by your fucking self.
Listen, it's not. We weren't created to be alone.
That teamwork make the dream work. People don't understand.
Listen, and having the right person on your team
is
everything. It's everything. Having the right person on your team.
So let me ask you, do you watch TV?
I do. Not a lot.
You start limiting how much TV you watch.
I do. I go through phases. Sometimes I don't watch it all. If I'm fasting, I don't do TV or radio. Everything is strictly studying and reading and stuff like that. I don't have a lot of time to watch TV, but I definitely, when I get into that self-care mode and I want to watch something, I want to laugh, I will definitely watch me something.
I know that's when you get into the peace. You just like, I just want to just.
Yeah.
Woosah.
Yeah, like even books. I had to get myself together. I realized as I've changed, my self-care needs have changed.
Okay.
So what I would used to do for self-care doesn't work for me now because I've grown, I've matured to certain things that I just don't like to do anymore. But I read,
That
but
shit is crazy.
but everything I was reading was for knowledge purposes. It was for growth purposes. But I've always loved to read. I was like, Dad, get you a book that you think you would just enjoy, not because you're seeking knowledge from it, but enjoy. Will. I listened to Will's Audible of his book,
Will.
Smith.
Oh,
Powerful.
the audiobook.
Listen to me. It's like 10 to 12 hours long.
I'm gonna get it just because.
No, my. First off, get the Audible book.
That's what I'm about to get.
I got the book and I got. First off, it's him. Let's just start there. He's dropping some jewels in there. First off, you look at his career history, you know he got some jewels to drop.
Yeah.
Like you can't take that away from him. But all the little things that's in that book, when I tell you he killed it, that book is bomb. So that's the first book that I picked back up besides me just picking up something for education. Now I'm thinking I ain't picking it up for education and got a whole education out of it.
See, and that's me. Like, I only want to read like novels and shit. I read so many of those like locked up. It was just like,
and you know what? It wouldn't really have been a novel probably for me, even for the but it just would have been something it wouldn't have been something like the 12-week year where I'm trying to figure out how to cram this information, in that amount of time or something like that, So Will was it. And when I tell you it was so good, first off, he's reading it.
I want to hear that.
He's a complete clown.
Anybody that gets up in the middle of a televised show,
go ahead,
and does that, I know that you're dealing with something.
Listen, first off, his story is phenomenal. Let's start there. There's so many things about him that we just didn't know, from behind the scenes. That happened after the book. The book was already done when that happened. So people who didn't know that will probably think he went back and edited the book, but the book was already out, right? You read that book, you understand
how it took place,
why it took place, the thought process behind it, everything. You understand all of that.
I'm getting it. I'm about to get
And when
it.
I tell you he's dropping gems, because you got to think his career started young. Will is 50 plus. So all throughout his whole career, he's literally dropping gems. Not only that, he has a core group of friends that is still with him, that left Philly with him from the beginning. So you got to think how much changed in that time frame. He lost some of them, but it's this core group of them that is still rolling together, that got rich together.
That's crazy. As soon as I put that in there, look, there you go.
Listen, and when I tell you that core friendship and that the value of those friendships is powerful. And they literally transitioned from music to series to movies to all of these different things, and they're still all rolling together. They literally got rich together. Yeah, it's powerful.
That's a good look. See, I told you we dropping jewels, man. She dropped a jewel. Go get Will.
Yeah, definitely. I give him his props. It's good.
And for you to say that means something.
Listen, it's good. It's good.
That's definitely good to hear that.
The longest audiobook I ever listened to. But when I tell you, I literally was cooking dinner in the bathroom, like literally, it was horrible. Not one to turn it off, but it's definitely a good one. Just get your little notepad or your little highlighter ready if you got the book, because you're going to be,
It's crazy to even hear people talk like that. Like, cause I know for a fact that youth ain't reading.
I know. Oh, I'm so grateful for the kids that I got. How we grew up, I'm blessed that we're where we're at. Just even off exposure alone, right? Even off the things we were exposed to as kids. I'm grateful for where we're at, but I'm grateful for the kids that we have.
Right. You're right.
Like they get on our nerves, they drive us nuts, but we could be having a cycle that is
a lot of different kids out here.
Yeah. And where we came from,
you would think,
we did pretty damn good.
You're right. Because, man, Man, oh man.
And it definitely wasn't on me. I'm definitely grateful to God, but it's definitely been a blessing.
And when then you go to parents, like it's things that, like looking at my parents, I love my parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's things that I just don't understand about
Right.
certain things. And when I'm looking at my parents, I'm like, damn, it shows me, like I got jewels from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
However, they also show me what I don't want to do,
Exactly. Exactly.
which is that's probably a fear.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
That's
yeah.
a big fear of
Oh, God,
mine.
yeah.
Like I just can't be in a place of some of them, you know what I mean, positions that they're in.
situations,
Yeah,
yeah.
like and I do want to say I don't want to ever get to the point where I don't listen to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because I told my dad one day, like, you know, what you got to understand is you can't apply old rules to a new world.
Yeah.
Your way of looking at the world, you can't apply those things to today's world. I said one day the world will favor my son.
Mm-hmm.
So when the world starts to favor my son, I got to start listening to my son to an extent and taking some advice from my son, because my old ways just might not, you know, they obsolete now.
Exactly.
And I don't think, you know, when people get older, they start to get more concrete.
Yeah.
Like you just don't want to budge. This is the way and this is the only way. When you have to be more fluid, you got to remain fluid throughout your life, period. Like no matter no difference how old you get. That's my main focus, is just to remain fluid and understand that, you know, as my kids get older, you know, they become, you know, they fit in the world better than I would. You know, like
TD Jakes preached on us and how we put certain things on our kids. Like, you know, of course I said the foundational things, right? That talks about the morals, principles, values, you know, your religion, making sure they know the value in that, you know. But there's some things that we can't prepare our kids for, because the world will be different when they are adults. So he talked about the fact that his grandmother used to teach him how to churn butter. And he's like, churn butter? You know, now he knows how to.
Yeah,
but he don't have to churn butter, because now you can just go into the store and pick up butter. But his grandmother was preparing him for a world that would no longer exist.
Yeah.
So we have to be mindful of certain things too that we're pushing into our children, because it will be changed.
It's like my son playing, he navigates through his iPad and he know things like that you wouldn't even like. What? How did you?
Right.
I said, you know, they say, well, get him out of it. I said, well, you can get him out of it to an extent. However, you got to realize this is going to be his way a life. The life is for his future. Yeah, this is how they navigate through life. Like, it's just, I mean, it's just crazy just being able to see the world evolve.
Yeah, it is.
And as you evolve, you trying to keep up with the world.
Exactly.
And that's what makes the discouragement take place. You're like, hold up, this shit moving fast as hell.
Man, first off, we were just 16.
Yeah.
We was just 16. Now we got kids. Listen. No.
It's like one long ass day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told somebody that about being locked up. I said, you know, I got locked up on a Thursday. It was Thursday for 5 years. Yeah, that shit is for real.
Man, listen, time does not wait for us.
Time is frightening.
It is. It is. It can be.
It can be.
I think that's why the urgency starts to happen in your 30s, where the wheels start turning. But in your 40s,
that shit kick.
Listen, your 40s is like, get it done.
Yeah.
Like you wake up, oh my God, what I got to do today, because I ain't got time to waste. My 50s, I ain't even gonna hold you up. The stress of my 40s, that's about to get me through, and you know everything that I'm gonna plant and pluck up and everything else in these next 10 years. My 50s, honey, I'm by the pool.
I agree. That's where I'm at. I agree. I told somebody
I'm
that
gonna be on the beach at the ocean. Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna do great
listen.
work in my community. I'm still gonna do great work, right? But I'm gonna be in a much better space at that time. I'm not in a bad space now, but I'm staying in a relaxed space. Right now, I have to move.
You gotta move.
I'm gonna be tired.
This is what they'll tell you. They'll tell you this. Man, you got 10 years or 8 years before you 50. That ain't. I said, do you know how fast that shit go? Do you know all the lives being in high school? You know how fast that shit went?
Listen, I just had an 18th birthday.
Man.
Now I got a daughter that's 21. Why?
Man.
How? No, we ain't got time. And not only that, the knowledge that we have now. Like I said before, it ain't even about wishing you had it beforehand. I got it exactly when I was supposed to.
You got it now. Now use it. Execute.
Exactly. Like don't just sit there and get stuck in it. Like keep going. The clarity always comes in the doing. It comes in the doing too. You know, a lot of the coaches that I do. As you begin to start doing things are going to start to open up. Your mind is going to start to open up. You're going to start to see what's for you and what's not for you, because now you so woke. When something's not for you, you're not going to try to hold on to it. You're going to let it go. Mm-hmm. Before, you might have held on a little way too long.
Yeah.
To where you start having issues with it. When you in this zone, no. As soon as it ain't for me, it's like, okay, I tried it.
And people be like, hold up, wait, hold up. You just go, look, I ain't got no damn choice, you know.
Listen, it ain't to be played with.
It ain't to be
I got stuff to do. And it's like, if anything becomes a hindrance to that, it's not for me.
Mm-mm. Well, listen, man. You can't get no more transparent than that.
That's what it is.
What jewel do you have to leave the people before we get out of here?
You know what? I ain't even about to drop a jewel for y'all, but I'm going to tell y'all, get involved in y'all's communities. Our communities and our people is hurting. And every single one of us got a gift to offer. I don't care what you do, what your profession is. You have something to offer. If it ain't the youth, it's volunteering somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like, get involved. It's always a call to action.
I heard it. Tell them how to reach you.
You can reach me at Jene, Jene, at seedsforpurpose.com. My website will be up in a couple weeks. It is seedsforpurpose.com. Or you can reach me on Facebook, Jene Patrick, or on Instagram, Seeds for Purpose.
Y'all heard it, man. Y'all know this shit was lit right here. This was a good one. I'm about to chop this up and sell it in pieces. Y'all have a nice night. It's Mr. Pringles the Barber, a.k.a. Always Cutting Head Honcho.